guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, my name is Courtney and today's Christmas Movie Monday is a Charlie Brown Christmas. So let's get into today's DIYs. To kick off these Charlie Brown Christmas DIYs, I'm going to be using 2 of these houses from Dollar Tree that I trimmed down and 4 of the wooden planks also from Dollar Tree. I took off the twine and then just using some hot glue, I'm going to assemble the house by gluing on the sides and then gluing on the roof. Once the house was assembled, I pulled off the labels and then using some of the Waverly chalk paint in the color Crimson, I painted the entire house red. Once the house was dry, I grabbed a pencil and made an opening on one end of the house and then I painted it black. Taking a piece of greenery from Dollar Tree, I shaped it into a wreath, hot glued it together, and then I glued it above the opening on the house. For this next part, I was going back and forth between whether I wanted to use multicolored fairy lights or actually use these little plastic light bulbs that came from Hobby Lobby in their miniature section. I ended up just using the light bulbs, so I just trimmed off the little gold string on them and then glued them directly underneath the roof on both sides of the house. I wanted to add a little something to the wreath, so I found some of these little peppermint candies, again from Hobby Lobby in their miniature section, and just trimmed off the little loop on the top, and then I hot glued them directly to the wreath. To make this look a little bit more like Snoopy's house, I grabbed my black Sharpie paint marker and I drew 2 lines on each side of the roof, as well as 2 lines on each side of the house. If you didn't have a black paint marker, you certainly could do something like black glue. If you have the Surebonder colored glue sticks, that would also look really nice. Now I'm ready to make my Snoopy that's going to go on top of the house. So I started with this coloring page that I just found online. I blew it up a little bit. I will link it down below. And then taking a piece of white felt and a fabric marker, I traced the silhouette of Snoopy's body. You're going to want 2 of these, so do this 2 times. And then for the arm, I also went ahead and traced his arm so it would kind of stick off of his body a little bit. And then as far as the black pieces that you want to trace, you're going to want to do the ear, the nose, and the eye. So now you should have 2 white Snoopy silhouettes along with 2 ears, 2 pieces of the nose, and then 2 eyes. You're going to want to also take a piece of white cardstock and trace around your Snoopy silhouette. You're going to want to put this in between your 2 pieces of felt so that he stays kind of stiff and that he'll be able to sit on top of the house. I assembled the Snoopy by gluing both pieces of my felt to the cardstock, and then I just put some glue down that seam. You'll notice on my roof there's that kind of little crack. I left that there intentionally so that my Snoopy could sit inside of the roof. Once that's done, I was ready to start gluing the other parts on, so I glued his nose on, his arm on, and for the ears, I glued part of the ear to the actual Snoopy, and then I just let it hang down on the sides of the house. To make this snow on the house, I just used a white colored glue stick from Surebonder and just went around the edge on the roof and just randomly put blobs of snow. And then in some places, after the glue had dried, I layered it to try to make it look a little more realistic. And then from there, I was ready to add a couple more details to Snoopy. Taking my black fabric marker, I added a few details to his paw as well as to his feet. The last step I did for this house was to take some of these little candy canes, again came from Hobby Lobby, and I just glued one on each side of the door opening, and then Snoopy's house was all finished. Now we can't have Charlie Brown Christmas without the Charlie Brown tree. So here I've got a pick from Hobby Lobby as well as some of the large popsicle sticks from Walmart. And I started by taking this pick and trimming it down a little bit so it looked a little more pathetic. Once I got that done, I took 2 tower blocks from Dollar Tree and I hot glued my pick down into the tower blocks. Then taking the popsicle sticks, I cut 4 pieces of popsicle sticks so that I could make the stand, and I just hot glued those popsicle sticks directly to the Jenga blocks that were holding my pick up. The next step was to get Linus's blanket wrapped around the base of the tree. So I had some of this light colored blue felt and I just cut a small slit so that I could put it around, and then just taking some hot glue, I kind of wrinkled it and anchored it to my stand. The final step was to add the red ornament, so I found these small red ornaments at Hobby Lobby as well, and I just tied it directly to one of the branches on the tree, and then this tree was good to go. Now we're moving on to make Lucy's Psychiatric Help stand. So for this, I'm using 2 small dowel rods from Dollar Tree, one of their wood planks, as well as a large popsicle stick from Walmart. So I'm just going to assemble this by hot gluing the large plank to the bottom, and then I'll trim the popsicle stick and glue that to the top of the dowel rods. To paint Lucy's stand, I'll be using the Waverly chalk paint in the color Fawn. I used my Cricut to cut the stickers for the words that I needed, so I did a Psychiatric Help 5 cents as well as the doctor is in. And then for the in portion, I just took another piece of the large popsicle stick and I put the word in on the popsicle stick, and then I hot glued that to the front of the stand. For this DIY, I am making another treat DIY where you could either display it or you could gift it to someone. So I created a printable, and then I grabbed another one of those Crafter Square mini mason jars and I filled it with some of the York Peppermint Patties that were unwrapped. And then I put the label around the jar, and then for the top of it, I found some Peanuts fabric at Hobby Lobby, and I just cut around the fabric and glued it directly to the lid, and then I just secured it around the edge of the lid with some hot glue and then finished it off with some twine. wanted to make some ornaments since my tree in my craft room is a peanuts themed tree. So to do that, I grabbed a light bulb that I just painted white, and then one of the Dollar Tree plastic ornaments that I just painted a skin tone. And then on the Charlie Brown one, which is obviously the skin tone one, I sketched out his face and then used a Sharpie marker to go ahead and put those details on. Once the face was on the ornament, I wanted to make his hat, so I grabbed some brown felt, and this is another one where I kind of just winged it. So the parts that you'll probably need to do this is just to make a circle with the brown felt, and then you're going to want a long strip of brown felt to kind of make the, I guess, brim of the hat, and then just do 2 half circles for the side flaps of the hat. For Snoopy, I did the same process. I sketched out his face and then used the Sharpie paint marker to fill in the details, and then I cut 2 ears out of black felt and I glued those to the sides of his head. And then taking some of this red and white fabric that I got from Hobby Lobby, I made a little Santa hat to put on the very top, and then I just went ahead and thread some twine through it so that I could hang the ornament. And one more idea for this ornament is you actually could turn the light bulb, I guess, sideways, and then you would end up with Snoopy's long snout, and you could paint the silver portion of the light bulb black and make that his nose. So that's another way you could make the head of Snoopy. For this DIY, I wanted to make some type of Charlie Brown sign, so I had yet again another Hobby Lobby clearance find that I just taped off the frame so that it would stay that color, and then I painted it white. Then I went into my Cricut design space and I created a sign that I really liked. I did make this also into a printable for you, so you can definitely print it out if you'd like to do that. And I just cut it with some black vinyl. And then once I got that put onto my sign, I grabbed one of these red sparkly mini ornaments from Hobby Lobby, and I went ahead and glued that directly to the sign. And from there, this thing is all finished. For these next 2 DIYs, I created 2 printables for you, and for the first one, I'm going to be putting both of these actually in Dollar Tree 8x10 frames. But for the first one, what I did was I took the frame apart and then I stuck the printable into the frame, put the glass back in, and then I attached fairy lights all over the glass and I secured it on the glass with some Scotch tape. And then I just closed up the frame and that's it. I just kept it super simple and let the lights be able to shine through the sign when it's displayed. And And for the second printable, I stuck it in the frame, and then I took one of the fairy lights from Dollar Tree that has the greenery on it, and I just hot glued that by tacking the leaves down along the edge of the frame, which it fit it perfectly. It wrapped it completely, and then this one was all finished. And there we go, a Charlie Brown Christmas themed video. Let me know down below which one of these DIYs was your favorite. Also let me know who is your favorite Peanuts character. Mine is Snoopy. I have loved him since I was little. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Here are some more videos you might enjoy, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!